How long did it take? They always talk about things slow down a little. How long? Mahomes said it was year 3. What was it for you?
The question, the answer is it progressively gets more and more. And I would say maybe at year 1, it's 50% of the way that you want it. And then year 2, it's 60%. And ultimately, you're trying to get to 100%. But even I think for Patrick, if I look at his situation and his development, he was very lucky to sit behind. And Patrick, let me get this out of the way. He's a phenomenal player. To me, is he, Lamar, Josh Allen. You're talking about the upper echelon, as we all know. And Patrick is going to go down as one of the greats ever for a number of reasons. But if I look at him, he went to college at Texas Tech. He had Cliff Kingsbury there with him for 3 years. An NFL caliber coach running a lot of NFL caliber type calls and methodologies behind what he's doing. So he had 3 years of that. Then he goes to the Chiefs, and he's got Alex Smith as the guy that's ahead of him, who's a phenomenal player, great leader, does everything the right way. And then he's got Andy Reid as his play caller. So it's like there's a reason why it all works, and there's this development that happens, and why Patrick has been able to ascend so quickly. And he would have found a way to ascend at some point anyway. I'm just saying, I could never have reached this area of growth that I needed to, whether that was year 1 or 3 or 5. It was accelerated because of all the things that I had in place. When I was in college, I ran a pro-style offense.
Yeah.
I got drafted. I had Bill Belichick teach me. I got to sit behind Drew Bledsoe. I worked really hard to learn all those things and embrace the challenge. And I think when you're a young quarterback, ultimately that's what you're trying to do. Be in a situation where you can learn, grow, develop. It's all about mentorship. It's all about the people that come in your life. I see Bo Nix from Denver. He's got Sean Payton there. He's a phenomenal coach. He's going to get great coaching. They're going to have great scheme. A lot of times the first reads for him are going to be open because he's got a great play caller that knows how to design things. So then you go on the other side of it. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks that don't make it. Maybe they wouldn't have made it anyway, but I'm just saying there's a potential that they could have. Look at Sam Darnold now. He's playing really well in Minnesota. He's got a good coach. He's got a good scheme. He's got some good receivers. He's playing well. When he was at the Jets, he didn't have all those things quite in place. So we always have to look at, I think, the physical makeup of these young players. What are they capable of? Do they have good arms? Do they have great arms? Are they athletic? Can they get out of the pocket? And then to me, there's a mental element that always comes into quarterback play. And I said in this last game against Green Bay, I was watching Green Bay Lions this last weekend. I said, there's no way for me to really see sustained success in the NFL at the quarterback position if you don't have total control of what's being done out on the field. If you're expecting your coach to call a play from the sideline, and that play is going to come into your helmet, you're going to call it, you're going to walk to the line of scrimmage, and that play is going to be successful regardless of the defensive look, you're out of your mind. That's not the way it works. The defense calls plays to stop you, and they have their own tendencies. So it's up to the quarterback ultimately to decide, okay, I got a play called. I see what the defense is doing. Is this play going to work or not? If it's going to work, you run it. If it's not, what do I need to do to survive the down? Or what do I need to do to put us in a position to be really successful? That, to me, is the operational control the quarterbacks need.
What's going on YouTube? Is Coffee back at it. And Tom Brady, man, talking his talk there. Josh Allen, BillsMafia, our quarterback. That's my quarterback, right? In the upper echelon, as Brady's calling it, man. And as much as I always say this, I despised the New England Patriots, Belichick, Gronk, who is from Buffalo, Brady, right? Like on a rivalry level as a fan. Again, you always got to give them the props for what they did, the amazing dynasty. Will it ever be matched? They've done what no team had never did before. Some think, as you heard him, praising Mahomes, getting in the right system, Andy Reid, sitting behind Alex Smith, everything coming together, the perfect formula that saw him rise to success ASAP. As Brady, was like, this guy's amazing. He would have got there regardless, but the way things came together perfectly for him, it happened sooner rather than later. But a lot of people think that KC and Mahomes are going to match the Patriots dynasty or possibly surpass it. My Bills going to get over that hump, so we're going to stop that from happening. That's what I'm saying. Comment and let me know if you agree, BillsMafia, or any other football fans out there of other teams. Like my Bills are looking good this year. The Super Bowl window is still open. You hear them. Josh is in the upper echelon with Lamar Jackson as well. A lot of people used to think Joe Burrow would be up there as well. But I don't know, coming off that injury, things just ain't been the same for Smoke and Joe. What do you think? Are there any other quarterbacks that got left out of the mix that you think should be considered up in the upper echelon of NFL starting quarterbacks? But what I was saying about Brady, though, is on a rivalry level, it's like, you despise. This is something we're going to talk about in another news story. Prevented a player from going to a particular team is what it seems is what happened. The heated rivalries and all that, divisional rivalries. But I think Brady actually is pretty good on the mic, man. I got to say, I've been enjoying Brady's work. Let me know if you enjoy him as a broadcaster, your thoughts about the quarterback discussion and the Bills and all that. Let's talk about it below. And how about Darnold, man? Man, he has shocked me and I think shocked everyone. I think everyone thought that Darnold was washed. It was over. It was done before it even got started. And here he is with with Minnesota, 6-2, I believe they are, and putting up some pretty good numbers on the season. 1,900 passing yards, that's 15th. TDs, 17, that's tied for 4th. 7 INTs, tied for 68th. Quarterback rating, 58.4, that's 13th. And, he's just been doing his thing, man. Like, I didn't see it happening. And, with Minnesota losing Cousins, all the talent they have there, a lot of people thought that this was going to be a drop-off year for that franchise. And, it's business as usual. They're keeping things shaking and moving just like it was. And with Sam Darnold under center as a signal caller, I never would have thunk it in a million years. Would you have? Now, here's some pretty interesting news here that I wasn't aware of that I guess had been being discussed all the way back in camp. And, we're once again talking about the Steelers and the quarterback position, the controversy that happened with Russell Wilson getting his job back when he got healthy. Again, Justin Fields handled it like a leader, Again, he said there wouldn't be, when he was asked, how do you feel about this? I didn't do enough, because if I did, right, there would be no question. There would be no way they could bench me. You know what I mean? He handled it like a leader. Now, there's been talks recently. The Pittsburgh quarterback situation has been discussed so much with the whole Fields, Russell Wilson quarterback controversy. But then, Steelers media outlets were pointing out, hey, next year, neither of these guys are under contract, right? They're both only under contract for this year. Like, what's going to happen? There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to want to throw money at Fields. Russell Wilson's getting up there, about to turn 36 or is 36. He's not the same Russ he once was, although he has been balling since he got his job back and everything like that. What will the future be? Will they lock up Fields? What's going to happen? And I'm intrigued to know what everyone out there thinks about that whole situation, especially if there's any Steeler fans out there. But how about this, man? And again, I guess this was being discussed all the way back prior to the season starting in camp and everything. Fields was third stringer the last game, right? He had a hammy injury, right? And in practice, he's been full participant. Now he's ready to go, right? And I think they had him sit at third stringer. There's a bye week or whatever, so he's going to be good to go. He's full participant. seemingly all healed up. You see him throwing a pass in practice to newly acquired via trade from the New Jersey Jets after being run out of town by Aaron Rodgers, man. That was crazy. That's all it took. He ran that route wrong. That's why we lost to the Bills. Bam, Williams is traded. And you see Fields hit him with a nice pass in practice. But this is very intriguing to me. They said at some point the Steelers insist that they will unveil a package of plays for the former first-round pick and elite athlete. Fields remains tied for 14th in the NFL rushing touchdowns with 5, despite not having played since week 6. He is second to Lamar Jackson among non-running backs. So that's pretty interesting stat right there. But also that they're going to have some kind of a package, a wildcat type package, if you will, And I remember when Tebow went to the Jets, like that whole experiment failed. It didn't work out. Brad Smith, who used to be with the Jets and was with my Bills for a little while, who played quarterback for, I think, Mizzou in college. He used to make some ish happen in packages like that. Kaepernick, before he got the starting job from Alex Smith, which you heard Brady talking about how, Smith went to the Chiefs and Mahomes learned from him and everything, right? That was wild the way that happened. Kaepernick took his job in a season where they were on fire, right? And then I think Smith had to sit out a week or something. He was hurt, and they just saw what Cap could do, and they said, we're going to go with Cap. Cap ended up taking them to a Super Bowl. We know how that went, the Harbaugh Bowl. They lost. Who turned the power out, though, right? Still to this day, that seems type shady. But prior to that, Kaepernick was running a wild cap offense, they were calling it, where some of these guys, same thing, Lamar Jackson, before he took Flacco's job, they were having him come out and run a package of plays and stuff like that. And I like this with Fields. A lot of people feel he should be the starter. A lot of people are against this 2-quarterback offense like we used to see. Who did the Tebow in college? Was it Ryan Leak that they would run it with? It's not something you really see in the pros, a 2-quarterback offense, but you'll see like some trickery. Is he going to run? What's he going to do? Like, I think that this will help the Steelers ultimately. And, they're speculating, is this the week that we're going to see it? It says Tomlin has been asked about the idea of a package of plays for Fields repeatedly, dating all the way back to training camp, but has remained coy about what the team actually has planned. And he said, I would always anticipate seeing that as long as both guys are on the roster. He just said this Tuesday. So they're like, could this be the week that we could see it happen? Steelers still winning games. Russell Wilson's the starter. Fields, you've seen where he's ranked with rushing touchdowns. Haven't played since week 6. I love the idea. I think it's a great idea. Let me know if you think it is, and if you think we will see this week. Could this be the week that they go ahead and make it happen? And then to round it out on the news and, end this video, as I was talking about earlier, heated rivalries, right? Divisional rivalries, how heated it can be, man. We know the Steelers and the Bengals, man. Oh my God, you guys remember that? All those crazy hits and dudes getting laid out. When was that? Back like 2014, 15, 16. There were some real physical games out there, man. We saw some crazy stuff between these two franchises. And, basically what's being reported is in the offseason when, the Steelers were like, hey, we got to add more depth at wide receiver. A lot of people were saying, hey, why not Boyd? It makes sense. Like, add Boyd. And this insider for the Steelers, right? What's his name again? I forget the guy's name. He's always in the news. Always seems to have pretty good info and be good at his job. He says, when they were saying, hey, was this was this Tomlin that stopped that from happening, because they say that the team really didn't pursue him. They had no interest, in signing him. He ended up going with Tennessee. And, now they got another receiver, obviously, in the trade with Mike Williams. But this insider, he said, I don't know about Mike Tomlin specifically not liking him because of what he said. Kaboli, that's the guy's name, the Steelers media correspondent here, the insider with the team, right? He said, I just know that the Steelers weren't interested in him. Somebody within the organization, player-wise, pretty much stood up and said, nope, we don't want him here. It wasn't the coach, it was a player who I think must have had some pull. And I hate that when those guys do that. The insider's like, he knows who the player is. He heard rumblings of this, when he's conducting interviews and talking to players and such, you know what I mean? But I get it. You gotta keep ish on the hush or people aren't gonna want to talk to you. But basically, like I was saying, how heated this rivalry was, this made it where the Steelers, to a lot of people, it made sense for them to try to sign Boyd. A player with an organization within the team said, hell no, because Boyd, actually a Pittsburgh native, he embraced this rivalry, which I was talking earlier in the video about being a Bills fan and despising the Patriots, right? It was so crazy. Gronk being from Buffalo, and everything he did on the field against us, it was like so wild, you know what I mean? And it's like Boyd from Pittsburgh, but ended up hating the Steelers on this rivalry level where, like, let's just keep it a buck. He talked a lot of ish, and, that made it where they said, hey, a player within the organization said, ain't no way in hell. He ain't coming here. We don't want him. Bluck out of here. And he ended up signing with Tennessee. But that's going to do it for this one. I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Look forward to hearing everyone's thoughts on all these news topics. Hit the comments, subscribe. Stay tuned for more football content as well as music, other sports, current events, politics, all that. We cover it all. Subscribe, and God bless.